Hey. Good to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us. And those of you who've been in past StreamAlive sessions kind of know the drill. And just going to pull that up here. Can you type in the chat as to where you're joining from, please? But something different is going to happen over here this time around. So just type in the chat. Where are you joining us from? And I'm going to fly around my map, which you will notice is in a slide in PowerPoint. And Monique, thank you for joining us from San Francisco, where it's early in the morning. It's 58 Fahrenheit. And are those the painted ladies that it pulls up automatically from San Francisco? I think it is.
It is.
Yeah. We got Chris here in Denton. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going from east to west, and please forgive me if I miss you out. Hey, Stacy, North Carolina, just a little south of where I am, which is in New Jersey, here in Basking Ridge. And if I want to make this a little more 3D, I could have a bit of fun. So folks who just joined us, please type in the chat as to where you're joining us from. We are going to be creating PowerPoint history together today. So I'm very, very excited about this. For now, tell us where you're joining from. Usually we kick it off with some music as well, but we thought that's too much of multitasking, so we're not doing music this time around. And let's see who else we've got over here. Beautiful. I'm going to fly around over here. We got people here in the States. We got people, our friends across the pond in Europe, in Paris. Hey, Elsa, thank you for joining us. You got Martin in Edinburgh. You just have the Fringe Festival starting this week, so good luck with all the chaos that brings.
Edinburgh have also just had Oasis playing, so I'm not sure if that outshines Fringe Festival.
That's my colleague Peter Claridge, who also leads our marketing. And if I haven't introduced myself, I'm Lux Narayan, co-founder and CEO at StreamAlive. And Peter plugs Oasis into every third conversation when he can.
That's not as a geriatric millennial, I have to.
Start talking Deep Purple and then we'll talk geriatric and stuff. You got people. Duncan from Shillong. Duncan, thank you for managing the Zoom room and everything for us and making us look good. People, thank you so much for joining us and helping us stress test this, helping us demo this. This is the first time ever that we're showing what we've built here. We are immensely proud of it because it is the first time ever that a PowerPoint slide will not just be talking, it'll be listening. And we'll talk more through it. So quick lay of the land. What we've got over here is a PowerPoint slide that I'm on right now. So this is a PowerPoint deck that I created previously. And we'll also create a few slides together on the fly so you get to see what is happening. But as you can see, for the first time ever, this slide was not pre-written. It is literally being written by you all right now based on what you're typing in the Zoom chat. If we were doing this on Teams, it would be based on the Teams chat. We were doing this on person, you would have scanned a QR code and participating on your phones. That's the only instance we think QR codes should be used when people are in person. But if you're in Teams, type in the Teams chat. If you're in Google Meet, you'll be typing in the Google Meet chat. You get the drift. Right now, you're in Zoom. StreamAlive is reading the Zoom chat, visualizing it with the StreamAlive interactions and showing that within my PowerPoint slide right now. So this slide is written by the audience in real time. We're going to write a lot of slides, so keep those fingers neatly exercised and ready because I'm going to ask you for a lot of inputs. Speaking of which, I have a question here. Peter, when did you create your first PowerPoint presentation? By the way, folks, if it's in the 2020s, type B in the chat. If it's in the 2010s, type C. And if you've never created a PowerPoint deck, thank you for joining us in spite of never having created a PowerPoint deck, but just type A in that case. So folks, if you can type, and I just realized also that my account has a cap of 10 people. So I apologize for that. I should have probably looked at that beforehand to make sure I had more than 10 people allowed to participate. But this is running off our demo server, which has some caps. And therefore, it's only going to allow about 10 respondents. But we'll still get a feel of what's going to happen with the thing. So those 10 whose responses are coming in, please continue to chime in over here. We live and learn, right?
Yeah, my first presentation, 1990s, on a Apple iMac in school. The school decided that it was very important for us to learn how to create presentations and use Word, and they made all of us take ICT classes. So it wasn't quite a Mac that was this old, and the one behind me, but it was a few generations above that.
Wow. Interestingly, I did my first one in the 1990s as well, probably a few years earlier than you did, but not on an Apple Mac. That was still very, very aspirational at that point. So quite a few people in the 90s, which is interesting. Of course, and I apologize for that. This is a little bit of a biased thing since we can't capture everyone's responses because our demo server right now has a cap of only 10 responses, which is like a free StreamAlive account. That will change by the next time we do this, right? So it's interesting we're saying the 1990s because PowerPoint launched about 38 years ago in 1987. That is version 1 you're looking at. And ever since then, while we've certainly changed the way we communicate, we've also been making one-way presentations, right? And here we are in 2025, and we have so much of new AI tools and things, but we think there's still a lot to be desired. But before jumping there, I would just like for you all to type in the chat as to which platforms you use. So let's just actually I'll just run this as a preview maybe. Right. I'll just skip this one over altogether. Right. Yeah, I've hit my cap on the session commenters. So let's just jump into the next slide. So AI is kind of automating slide creation at this point. There are a lot of these tools that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. We've got things like Gamma and PowerPoint with Copilot and Google Slides and Gemini and a whole bunch of things that help you create prettier slides, prettier templates, automated design. But our thesis is that the core problem still remains, which is that most presentations are one-way monologues like the last 2 slides that I just did, right? And more often than not, you have presenters going talk, 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 talk as they go slide, 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 slide. And that really is fundamentally what we want to change. Full disclaimer over here, my colleagues in our tech team would have loved for us to have another week or so before we demoed this PowerPoint app, but we said, let's just, some of you who've been with us for past events know that we're fans of demoing and building in public, literally building it as things go. So we want to show you a flavor of things to come. So heads up, definitely a couple of things will break, if not everything. But hopefully we'll still be able to show you how the app works, what we're building, and what we think is a very, very exciting future for how people communicate in one-to-many sessions, where it's literally going to be a conversation as opposed to being a monologue, right? So let's see if this works. I would love for you to type in the chat as to what you think is broken with presentations today. Again, let's see how it comes up, but I would love to test it right now in real time together.
Lux, while we're waiting, are you able to move your, like we've got everyone's cameras on your screen?
Oh, I do? Okay, thank you for letting me know. Oops.
Just move that across so that you're just sharing the screen, and possibly even make your go into presentation view on PowerPoint.
Hang on 1 second. So it is showing my Zoom application and work meeting windows. You can probably see that as well right now. So I'm just going to change that. And is this better now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And I wish you hadn't asked me about going. Can you see the thumbnails now? I'm assuming not.
Yeah, we can't see the thumbnails.
Can't see it. Okay, I can see it, but you can't. So that's kind of how it's supposed to be. I think only about the first 10 people who participated, their responses are going to come in. So folks just who participated right in the beginning, if you don't mind just typing again. Let's just refresh this particular interaction over here. Or we'll just go with it. Okay, cool. Not interactive enough. Bullet points. Thank you. Right. And Peter, full disclosure here, I cannot go full screen on PowerPoint because that is one of the known bugs we have right now. It works on edit mode. and which actually allows me to show you that we are actually using PowerPoint, because if I were to put a full screen, you wouldn't know if it's PowerPoint or Figma or Canva or something else or StreamAlive. And this allows me to show that we are actually running it within. But right now it has some known issues with full screen view. So the moment I click here, 3 out of 4 times it works. But with my luck, this is going to be that 1 out of 4 times when it doesn't. So we're not doing that. But here, this is one of my favorite features, talking tiles, where the audience's responses are visualized in real time. But I was busy responding to Peter. So quite honestly, I didn't read your responses, and I apologize for that. But fortunately, there's an AI for that. So for those of you who are not already familiar with some of our AI summarization features, I could do things like this. I could say, summarize all these responses that I got so far. Again, those of you who are not seeing your responses over here, it's because this one allows only for 10 responses in our demo server. So only about 10 people's responses are going to be counted, but you will get a flavor of how it's working. Right?
I'm copying and pasting everybody's, because I'm one of the 10 people that are now allowed to
Oh,
comment.
so that's why you're putting so many comments.
Yeah, I'm copying and pasting so that everybody gets heard. So yeah, please, if you keep giving your comments, I will copy and paste, because I'm as Lux said, I'm one of the 10 that's was recorded on the maps. And so the 11th, 12th person that commented, it didn't count, because as Lux said, we're on the demo server, not the full production server.
Ah, okay. So everybody today, except for me and a couple of others, everybody is Peter Claridge today. So just put stuff in the chat, which I will not tell you if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You can figure it out for yourself. But put it in the chat. Peter has very kindly offered to paste it again so that we can get all voices heard. But
Syed wants to hire me for sessions. You'll have to speak to Lux.
I love this feature, Peter. All those responses you copied and pasted. What StreamAlive has done now is basically summarized all of those responses into what everybody said, which is they talked about engagement, is it needs to be more interactive, about design. Yes, absolutely, reduce text, innovation, make it modern styles, which AI is helping a lot with that. Participation and effectiveness, which is not currently solved by all those tools we have out there. I'm wondering if I should click on popular opinion and alternative voices, because it'll take a lot of Peters in here, but hey, let's get testing in public. So, all right. Peter specifically mentions presentations are viewed as outdated, contain too many text, lack audience. Peter's saying everything basically. Okay. And
yeah, I think also important point is that when the summary is showing, the interaction gets paused. So I love everybody's comments. Thank you, John. Thank you, Syed. But yeah, if I paste your comment in now, it won't show because the interaction is paused at the moment.
No, thank you, Peter, for doing this for us. And I have some other people I'd like you to send comments to from me, but as you.
Thank you for joining us, John. It's early in the morning for you, and thank you for being here.
No, this is great to see, and it's really exciting seeing this come together.
I'm super excited. Yes, thank you. And you had a ringside view as we've been building it and know all the trials and tribulations towards getting to this point. We're not fully there, but hey, we're almost there, and I think it's pretty powerful. This is the first time this has ever happened in its 38-year history. And speaking of PowerPoint's history, I'm going to pull this up in a little bit, but I'm reading this book, which is fantastic. It's called Sweating Bullets. It's by Robert Gaskins, who invented PowerPoint. And Peter, he does a whole bunch of other interesting stuff too, right?
Well, on that chart there were those of us who were pre-PowerPoint. There were those of us who were using slides and flip charts, and there were a number of other companies that came out. I'm trying to remember what all the names of them were. Lotus Freelance, Harvard Graphics, this Persuasion, they were all pre-PowerPoint.
Oh,
Not by that many years, but there's some of us who the power we use was just our hands on a chalkboard, but that's a different power.
Absolutely. So just as is fairly obvious, our mantra, so to speak, is really this, right? Unmute the audience, and I just got my new unmute the audience T-shirt as well. We just got these made, but that's a real philosophy. Unmute the audience, and it's easy to say unmute the audience when you have 2 or 3 or 5 or a single-digit number of people in the room, because you can literally unmute the audience and have a conversation. But when you have 32 people like we have right now, or you have 300 people, or even 10 people for that matter, it's difficult to unmute the audience because you're going to have cacophony and it's going to be difficult to shepherd that whole conversation. And as you've seen, that's our core focus. Use AI to turn passive chat into these real-time interactions. Those of you who are familiar with StreamAlive, actually, let me try and run that as a question, right? Which is also a good way for me to demo what is happening over here. I would love to ask you if you've used StreamAlive. And for that, what I might do, if I had prepared in advance for this question, and I didn't because I wanted to show you how that works, is I would click on my add-ins over here. And there's a developer add-in. That's why it's not public right now. It will be public very soon. And hopefully you're excited about what you're seeing today to request early access for it and play around with it. But right now it's a developer add-in, and I'm going to add that into my slide over here. So literally pasting it over this one thing over here. And I'm just going to make it a little bigger right now. And boom, I've got, for those of you familiar, a StreamAlive presentation over here, right? So let me actually add an ad hoc interaction over here, and I'm going to run a poll and ask you a question. Have you used StreamAlive, right? And first option is yes. And the second option is no. And just like you wouldn't author your slides in real time, it's ideal to keep these ready before, but I'm just showing you how it works so you get a sense of what I did before this presentation started. Usually for a yes/no question, I would not allow multiple audience responses for obvious reasons. But right now, since Peter is going to be capturing responses for everybody, I don't know if he's going to be doing it for the yes/no as well. I'm just going to allow multiple responses over here. So there's a whole bunch of other things I could have done. I could have changed the themes and the look and feel and make them look different and all of those, which we are not going to implement right now. But I'm just going to take this, add the slide into my PowerPoint, and fingers crossed, if it works fine, it should work okay now. And if you get some ones and twos in the room, there we are. The ones and twos in the chat will populate the poll right now. So for those of you who are not familiar with StreamAlive, which it seems to be quite a few people, this is a new implementation of StreamAlive. It's a web application that connects to your Zoom and reads the chat and visualizes it on the web interface. The number one feedback we got from people so far was, this is beautiful, but I want it to run within PowerPoint because that's what I use for my presentation. So that's what we're demoing today. The first look at how StreamAlive will work inside a PowerPoint slide. So it's refreshing to see that many of you are new to StreamAlive. If you haven't done so already, please go to streamalive.com, sign up for a free account, play around with it. And by the time you're comfortable with StreamAlive, which should just take you a day or so, a few days after that, sometime next week, we should be launching this new PowerPoint add-in so you can run it within PowerPoint as well. And by the way, I forgot to say, if anyone has any questions, just type it in the chat anytime. StreamAlive's quick questions feature, if it works well within PowerPoint, as we hope it will, should pull all those questions, and I should have a slide ready and created for me that shows all the questions that all of you have asked, and we'll get to that sometime in the end. Right? Since a lot of you are not familiar with StreamAlive, I just want to make a quick introduction of why we do what we do, and a little bit more about the ethos behind it. So the best way to explain that is by rewinding back to the pandemic, when this was my passion project at that time. For various reasons, including a personal family emergency, took a break from work, used that newfound free time to write a book. That's a book. It's called Name, Place, Animal, Thing. It's not a children's book, even if it looks like one. It's a modern fable that encourages people to give better answers when they're asked, so what do you do? Because all of us respond with what it says on our LinkedIn profile, but there's so much more to all of us that we should bring into conversations. And that's really the core thesis of the book. But enough about the book. I didn't know anything about writing a book. And so I binged on about 6 different courses, delivered over 56 online lectures, mostly on Zoom, some on Facebook Live, some on YouTube Live, a couple of them on Google Meet, and one on Microsoft Teams. So 56 online live sessions, class sizes from 11 to 1,200, all to learn how to write a book. And you might read my book and say I didn't learn much, but that's besides the point. I did learn a lot about online sessions and how broken they are. So one of three things would happen, right? Either the presenter would just go talk, as all of us are familiar. People wait for the recording, watch it at 1.5 times the speed because, hey, there's no difference between the live and the recorded experience. Or the presenter would ask questions like I did in the beginning of this. Like this was a classic icebreaker question where they'd ask people, hey, where are you joining us from? Put it in the chat, and people would enthusiastically put it in the chat, and they would eyeball one or two answers and ignore the remaining answers. Or the third, which was self-sabotage in my opinion, was one where the presenter would ask people to pull out their phones. So someone is sitting in front of their laptop and they're encouraged to pull out their phones, scan a QR code, and go to an app or a website to participate, which is beautiful. It helps you participate. But guess what? The best way to take people's attention away from what you're doing on your screen is to send them to their phones. Because I don't know about you, but I've not had much luck competing with TikTok or the news or notifications or what people are planning for the weekend. It's very difficult to compete with that. So why would you self-sabotage your session and encourage someone to move to their phones to participate when in all those 56 live sessions, the chat was on fire? So our core idea was, can we visualize the chat in real time? And that's really what we do with the StreamAlive web application. I'm just going to switch screens here and pull that up. A lot of you are familiar with the StreamAlive web application where you could run a presentation. I could pull this presentation I have on ice creams on the East Coast and connect it to Zoom or Teams or wherever and have those platforms right into my presentation. But the big issue with all of this was simply this: you needed to import your static slides into StreamAlive, and they would stay static. So one, you would lose builds and animations and embeds in your PowerPoint slides because it would get converted into a flat file. And two, it was inconvenient. So the number one feedback we got from everybody was, this is beautiful, but can these interactions, these word clouds, these falling Tetris tiles, these polls, these thought blurbs, these spinners, can they all run inside PowerPoint? And that's what we are seeing for the first time ever today, right? So coming back here, our mantra really is stop one-way presentations, unmute the audience, and make the chat stream alive, and hence the name StreamAlive. And all those logos you see in the bottom are all the platforms we support. I think that's a little outdated. There are a few more besides those as well. But all the popular platforms, all the popular chat is supported by StreamAlive, right? The movement towards PowerPoint is also a very organic move for us because since some of you are not fully familiar, I want to share this as well, which is that StreamAlive has these apps. So if you go to the Zoom App Store, for example, there are about 3,000 apps out there. And if you see their AI apps, we're actually the number one AI app, we're the number one employee engagement app, and we're the number one app for education, something we're very proud of. But this opened up a whole Pandora's box of opportunity for us because it told us the fact that people want to use StreamAlive in the flow of work, which could be in Zoom, in PowerPoint, in Teams. So going forward, we're building apps that will be accessible within the Microsoft App Stores for PowerPoint and for Teams. We already have a rudimentary app for Teams. We're building this one for PowerPoint, and you're seeing a preview of that, right? A lot of talking, so I'm just going to jump in over here and look to see. I'll try and show you a couple more features over here. This one is still work in progress, but what it would do is give me the ability to essentially run a winning wheel. Let's try and see if we can force it to work over here. So I might be able to pull out a wheel and say, pick everybody who participated. And if I were to add this slide to my PowerPoint, yeah, it's not connecting right now, but it would allow me to spin a wheel and literally pick somebody who's participated in the session and run that. So when we do the production build, you'll be able to do all of these things, right? The questions thing would read the chat and allow me to visualize the questions and everything. But I want to switch tracks and just show you what else we're building in the world of PowerPoint, right? And Peter, since I'm not able to connect the quick questions here, if you can just look through the chat and tell me any questions people have, and we can go through those together.
Yeah, absolutely. So first one is, will this turn Syed the facilitator into a PowerPoint fan?
If there's anything that will turn Syed into a PowerPoint fan, I think this might be it. Otherwise, we're asking for the impossible over here.
Does this work on PowerPoint in the browser or only on the desktop?
So it works on both the PowerPoint in the browser and PowerPoint on desktop. We do see some nuances that change here and there in each of them. So for example, if I were to embed an interaction, let me just do that right now. So I'm here, I'm just going to go to the slide, I'm going to select all of it, delete it. And if I add the add-in, it's going to be exactly the same behavior. This will be available on the browser as well. It looks a lot smaller on the browser for various reasons. But as long as you just go there and resize it and pull it to whatever size you want, it should be perfectly fine. And again, it's just one time that you need to do it, just like it's one time that you create your slides. There are a few things here and there that we are constantly discovering behave a little differently in both. And that's part of what we're working on right now, trying to harmonize the experience as much as possible on both of them. We might come out initially with a recommendation saying use it on either. It's certainly faster with the desktop, because with the browser, with everything working off the browser, for everything to communicate with the backend servers and come back, it's just a lot faster with the desktop. So I was always a fan of PowerPoint Online, and I've now become a fan of the installed version again, which I used to use till a couple of years ago, just because of this.
Shanti's asking, do I just go into my PowerPoint or PPT and it's there? So maybe just very quickly again, you go to the add-ins.
Absolutely.
Menu.
So Shanti, what's going to happen is there's an add-in we're going to release very soon. What you're seeing here is a preview of it with all its, warts and imperfections and everything. But when we release it, we will release a beta version in approximately a week from now. And if you'd like access to the beta version, you can just DM me over here in the chat itself, or email us at hi@streamalive.com, and we'll try and set you up with early access to the beta. But what's going to happen is you will have an app available on the Microsoft App Store. So right now, if you actually go out there and search for StreamAlive, we do have one Teams app, which was an experimental app, and we will soon have a PowerPoint app here as well. So you would click on that PowerPoint app and add it into your PowerPoint. And once you do that, in the add-ins pane, which literally looks like a pane in PowerPoint, PANE, of course, you would click on that, and it would show you all the add-ins you have. The reason it shows me StreamAlive right now, although it's not public, is because it's a developer add-in. So as the developers of StreamAlive, I have access to this add-in. I've added it manually at my end. And once you have the add-in, all you need to do with a new slide, let's say I wanted to, I would just put a new slide out here, and I could take an existing slide if I wanted, and I would just call the add-in and say, put a StreamAlive interaction here. And what it's doing at this point, good segue for me to explain, is reading off presentations that I have in my account right now. So this is reading off my StreamAlive account, and I have all these presentations. So if I were to go here, I could show you all the presentations I have. I have a couple of them on introduction to StreamAlive, something on increasing your AI IQ for work and life, the art of storytelling. I was just experimenting with a whole bunch of others, right? So I'm just going to delete some of these right now. I could remove them and just clean it up a little bit and collective story building sessions. I just got all these presentations over here, or I could create a new presentation, which we will do in a second. Or I could also add a single interaction. So I could say, I just want to add a map on the slide. I just want to add a poll on this slide. I just want to add a word cloud on this slide. So you could do it in one of two ways. You add the insert, you insert the add-in, mixing up my words, and then you decide whether you want a single interaction or you want to create a whole bunch of interactions or read from a bunch of interactions that you previously created. So this workflow is still being improved and tweaked a little bit, so it looks similar to the workflow you're already familiar with on the StreamAlive main application, but at the same time behaves in a way that is congruent with PowerPoint, right?
Okay. Next question.
Yes, please.
So if I'm showing my PPT on another platform, which is WebEx, will it work? So I guess, do we work with WebEx?
Yes, absolutely. So glad you asked that as well. What you would do before a session is connect any of your interactive slides to whatever platform you want StreamAlive to read from, which could be Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, YouTube, Twitch. So WebEx is, yes, we support WebEx on our main application, on the web application, but since it works through a Chrome extension, it will not work with the PowerPoint embed at this time till we find an alternative solution for it. So right now, I would say any of the things that are not gray over here are supported out of the box. So once again, that's Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, YouTube. And if for some reason you're running a PowerPoint presentation on Twitch or Kick and streaming that,
You might be in the wrong place.
You might be in the wrong place, yes. But hey, you can make it interactive. Actually, no, there are a lot of interesting commentaries going on now in those platforms too. But yes, but mainly Zoom, Meet, and Teams is kind of what we're looking at initially. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of what you showed, we're going to have Donkin. He's going to be creating some very useful, good, simple videos on how to do all of the things you were showing, like how to find the PowerPoint tab, how to install it, how to put it into your slides, how to connect it to your meeting, whether it's on Teams, Zoom, WebEx, Google Meet, or something like that. So that's all coming as well. That'll all be in the help desk to help people out. So everyone on this call, can we give them early access to this PowerPoint app if they're interested?
Yes, we certainly can. So I should have, and I apologize, come up with a mechanism to do that easily. But what's the easiest way to do that, Peter? Just put hi at StreamAlive and request people to email us there?
Yeah, absolutely. So Duncan will send a post-event email. You can just reply to that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So look out for an email from us by tomorrow and just reply to that if you're interested in early access. And again, we'll be doing this literally every week. Speaking of, Peter, do you think we should try the AI thing in public now, or will it explode? Will my computer explode?
Do you want to try and break the AI?
Let's try and do that. I'm in love with this. I have to show you folks this. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of weird presentations. Not weird, but different presentations here. So I got something on early stage deep tech investing in India, introduction to anti-money laundering and KYC norms in banks. We've been testing it with what we think might be boring presentations otherwise and seeing how we can make those engaging. So that's really been the test we've been doing internally. And I'm just going to do that in public with all of you right now. Peter, pick one of these. I've got one on increasing your AI IQ. There are so many people running AI training programs now. So I got one on that. I got one on art of storytelling. And
I'm going to pick the most exciting one you've got there, which is KYC, anti-money laundering. I mean, that's top of mind for everyone.
Okay, are you serious?
Yeah, let's do it. If it can come up with interesting questions.
All right, let's do that.
I mean, I'd listen to this presentation all day.
Let me just delete the slide I have here. Okay, so please do not judge my friend Peter on his taste in presentations, but he's decided that we want to demo this one on anti-money laundering, AML, and KYC norms in banks. And again, this is a dummy presentation we created using, I think we used Gamma for this one, just to create a dummy presentation to have content to test. So it is by us, StreamAlive, and we are not a bank. So don't judge it on the basis of its content in terms of what it talks about. So if any of you are into AML and the KYC, forgive a lot of things that you're going to see over here. But I think it's pretty decent. Actually, I got this 30-slide PowerPoint deck on anti-money laundering and KYC norms. And I've heard of StreamAlive, and I think it's impossible, but I want to see if I can make this engaging. Right. So what I'm going to do here is try and test if our AI part works here. So let's do it together. I'm going to create a new slide. It's an empty slide at this point. I'm going to add the add-in, which you will have access to Zoom. Right now, it's only a developer add-in, and it's here in my slide right now, right? And at this point, I have StreamAlive introduction, which is what I was taking you through earlier, and these are not suitable for KYC norms. So I'm going to say I want a new presentation. And this is something that just blows my mind, because what StreamAlive is capable of doing, and my talented colleagues have built, is the ability to read the entire deck and recommend interactions if you want help with that. So it's going to read the PPT at this point, the 30 slides so far, and we're coming up with different avatars of this. I'll explain that in a moment. But what it's done right now is read the 30 slides, and it's come up with recommendations. So it says, let's ask people, where are you joining from? You can see it's not perfect, where it's supposed to say, do it after slide 1 or this slide. It says, let's do a geo-based icebreaker to warm up the audience and learn about their locations. Good idea. Let's do that, right? And I could then, in that case, simply drag this slide out there and insert this particular slide into my PowerPoint. And this slide would be where I want it to be, right? But for now, I'm going to go back into my editing and look at the others. It says, let's engage the audience. Again, it's trying to tell me after which slide, and that'll be there in the version you folks have access to. It'll tell me where exactly it recommends this comes in. So it might say, this is a good thing to do after slide 8, right? Saying, let's ask people, because we just talked about AML and KYC, let's ask people what word comes into your mind when you think of AML or KYC. So this is based on the content. It's coming up with other questions. What does KYC stand for? So it actually comes up with a multiple choice question based on the PowerPoint content, which I can insert, and people can participate from the Zoom or Teams chat. So is it know your customer, know your cash, know your currency, keep your compliance? And I could, obviously that's the right answer. People won't see it till they answer and I reveal it, right? What's the biggest challenges that banks face with AML? So like the talking tiles and the thought bubbles, people's answers. Again, all the interactions we have today in live sessions is mostly polls. People don't think apple, oranges, mangoes. They think open-ended. They think in different ways. So a lot of our focus is allowing for long-form, open-ended answers and summarizing and synthesizing the wisdom of the crowd in real time based on that. Rating polls, okay, well, how effective do you think current regulations are in your experience? And if I thought this is a great slide to insert wherever StreamAlive recommends I insert it, I would simply add this slide to my PowerPoint. So I need to do this for every slide that I want to insert. So once I've added this slide, I could simply say, okay, I've added this slide. I want one more. Let's do the add-in. And it pulls up the last presentation you used, which is this one. And I could say over here, I want to insert, maybe let's pull something else, quick questions or a giveaway or something else, right? Or if I don't like any of these, I could create something new altogether and insert that as well. But a lot of AI help that will read your deck, come up with interesting interactions, come up with recommendations on where to put them. And the way we're taking this forward is you could also go to slide 23 and say, at this point, I think I've spoken too much. I want an interaction after the slide. StreamAlive will read the most recent slides and recommend an appropriate interaction or interactions. It'll give you 3 to choose from that you could insert after this. And then you could choose one of them and go with it. So you could literally create your deck, say, I want to put something here. I want to put something after this, and ask StreamAlive for help each of those times. And it will come up with a very, very relevant set of questions. Peter, are you happy with the AML questions, or?
Yeah, definitely. I would participate. I'd be a very eager learner in this session.
And again, of course, what I would do is move those questions around to where I think they're best placed, and basically go talk, listen, talk, listen, talk, listen, talk, and finally a PowerPoint deck is actually a conversation and not a monologue. Last point on, which is probably familiar for those of you who are familiar with StreamAlive, but I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint here. And let's open the other PowerPoint. I still need to learn how to move these things around someday. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to disconnect and I'm going to switch tracks and go into my StreamAlive dashboard. And for those of you who are familiar with StreamAlive, you might notice that the URL here is not app.streamalive.com, which is what we usually use. It's demo.streamalive.com, which you don't have access to. This is what I'm running this demo of. So it's not public so far, like I mentioned. I'm just going to see if it's already done the analytics. At the end of a session, I will, like before, I should get reports. No, it's not done with this one. Afterwards, I will get a report on what happened during a session. So this is a one that we did a little earlier. Or is it this one? Oh, maybe it's this one. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Yep. So all the responses that you gave, all of your answers, everything is captured over here. People's questions are automatically captured. Does it work in PowerPoint in the browser? All of those that Peter was reading. And at the end of it, this will take a few more minutes. After the session, StreamAlive will generate all these images that I can use off platform to share how beautiful the session was. So all of the analytics that you're used to will also work. But for that, you'll need to go to the StreamAlive app on your browser. And that, even if you run it on PowerPoint, all those analytics will be there for you like it is for me at this point. So all the other things about StreamAlive work just like before. But you don't have to leave PowerPoint ever if you don't want to, and you could run everything within it itself. Peter, did we want to do one more presentation, or are we good with this? Any other questions also? Peter, if you're responding, I can't hear you. I'm going to say the 3 most common words in every live session. You're on mute.
Yeah. So Monique has a question. She says, I just need to share my screen in Teams with my PPT presentation and StreamLive just works. So I don't think it's possible to show how to connect to the meeting, but I think that's what we need to clarify just there.
So as in connecting with Teams, was that the question, Peter? Could you just repeat it?
No, as in like you've got the slides, like the StreamAlive slides in your PPT right now, and you share your screen in Teams or in Zoom like you're doing now, and it just works, or like basically we need to show you've got to connect StreamAlive to your meeting.
Oh, okay, got it. So let me actually try and break something here. And right, so what I would do is I would have my slides ready. So this is my presentation on demoing StreamAlive, right? I kick it off with asking people where you're joining from. So I have a StreamAlive slide here. Then I ask people, when did you first create a PowerPoint presentation, which is what we did in the beginning. And then I have a slide talking about Robert Gaskins inventing PowerPoint 38 years ago. So this is my PowerPoint, which is identical to any PowerPoint, except it's got listening StreamAlive slides interspersed, literally sandwiched in between my talking slides. And what I would do is just before my session, I would say, or I could even do it well before if I wanted, I would just tell StreamAlive where I expect it to connect next. So I would say, for example, that I wanted to connect with, I think it disconnected from the Zoom. So let's try it again. I could say I want to connect it with this Zoom session, which is the same link all of you click to join this Zoom. And I would just say add this session. So now StreamAlive is ready and waiting. So what happens at this point is if, once I'm here, let's say it's 5 minutes to the presentation time, I could go full screen if I wanted. Full screen has an issue, which is why I haven't been demoing it so much right now. It's still trying to make that work better. So let me just change that a bit here. Okay, that should be better. You should be seeing my second desktop. So I could just go full screen here and it might break everything, but let's try. And say start reading responses. And at this point, Duncan, if the bot joins, please allow it into the meeting. I just admitted the StreamAlive bot. And folks from StreamAlive, please don't type in the chat. Let's give others, because my account has a cap on 10 right now for the demo server. So anybody who's not participated, can you just type where you're joining from, please, in the chat. Right, so as you type, John, welcome, you're in London. You folks follow centigrade, don't you? So let me change that. It's 25 centigrade in London. And yeah, almost a weekend for you folks. So again, I would simply present this slide when I'm presenting to my audience. So, I would just connect StreamAlive a minute or two before the session so that the StreamAlive slides know where they're supposed to read, in this case, the Zoom chat, but tomorrow it might be the same presentation used on Teams, or the day after tomorrow, I might decide to do it in person or a hybrid session or on Google Meet. And you can use exactly the same presentation. It's just that you'll connect it to a different place, right? Go to my favorite interaction over here. Oh, there's also a comic book thing here. There's also Blueprint. There's also the Globe, which is obviously a lot of fun. Got new names over here. Antonia, thank you for joining us from Heidelberg. John, Corinne from Canada. You get the idea. So this slide, and once I'm done with this slide, I could, like one does with, I just exited it over here, but what I would typically do after that is go to my next slide, which is my talking slide. And so I'm basically interspersing between my listening slides and my talking slides, right? In the version you have next week, what will happen is once one slide connects to StreamAlive, all the other slides will auto connect to StreamAlive as well. So you don't have to do it multiple times. You just connect any one of your StreamAlive slides, and all the other slides say, hey, we're connected to this, and I assume Lux wants us to read from the same meeting. So every StreamAlive slide will read from the same session. Right? And since we are trying to break things, let's continue doing that. I
was just going to point out that what we're showing just here is a preview version. So I don't think the developers are keen to show it in public just yet, but we're doing the usual marketing and founder thing of showing everybody what we've got because we're so excited about it. But the actual StreamAlive web app and the StreamAlive Zoom app and the StreamAlive Teams app, they're all very, very stable and work like as they should. It's just we're showing you something that is still being coded. I think you were still like doing coding on it before this webinar started, right?
As early as 1.5 hours ago, yes. We're pushing 4 versions every day, which we don't do with the core product because a lot of things can break. But here we're just still testing it. And tomorrow, maybe I want to run this on Google Meet. And all I say is join this Google Meet session, or I want to run it on Microsoft Teams, in which case there are multiple ways you could do that. I just give a link to the Teams meeting and a bot joins it. Or I've connected my Teams account so it knows all my upcoming meetings, and I could say I want to run it on this meeting and just say add it and connect it. It's as simple as that. So same presentation, just like you would use it in different occasions, different training programs, different classes, different presentations, you would use it exactly the same way over here.
I'm assuming this runs in a browser.
Sorry, was there a question?
This is John.
Yes, John, please go ahead.
I've been playing around with this and using it ever since you had it on AppSumo. It's great what you've done.
Thank you.
And with your amazing progress, I'm now thinking that I should be using this as a production environment where, of course, if I just ran it in a browser, I could put it into OBS, DMix, or any of the production tools, couldn't I?
Absolutely. So if you wanted to run it that way, you would just run it on the browser and put it into a production mix that way. I do it with using it on an eCam, where I put it as a desktop source or on OBS. I use eCam more often, and I know there are a lot of OBS fans over here in the room, but I would use it that way, or I would use the web widget and use it that way as well. But simply using a browser source or a desktop source is perfect. And if you were to put, what I also do with the PowerPoint demo is put PowerPoint on a second desktop and use that as a source. But for sessions like this, I simply do plain old screen share so people know it's possible to do it with just plain screen share. Does that help, John?
That's fantastic. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. Cool. Super. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we said we'll wrap up in 45 minutes. And if you have any questions, just email us. Monique, yes, on that access to the beta. So just reply back if you don't mind, so we have your email address and know where to contact you. Either you can message it to us here, or better still, just wait for tomorrow, the wrap-up mail that we send. And if you can respond to that, we will ensure that everybody who's interested gets early beta access to this. Heads up, beta access is exactly what it says. Things will break, things will move around. Please don't yet use it on a massive thing. We'll let you know when it's safer to test. But the good thing here is, since it's running within PowerPoint, the worst can happen is that a StreamAlive slide does not read off the chat, but all your other slides are going to continue to work as before. And you're going to be able to do PowerPoint exactly as you've been doing it for the last 38 years, right? So that's not going to change.
With more listening.
I'm sorry, Peter, what was that?
But with more listening, not just talking.
More listening, absolutely. Yeah. So yes, super excited about this, and that's why we decided we'll show it, even if it's a little premature, but we're furiously building it, and a lot of these little things here and there should be ready by next week. But the AI would work a lot better as well, where you could, I'm just going to try to one more presentation here because I think someone asked for I have one on, let's see if that, here we are. Peter, I've got a 8-slide presentation here, so if you don't mind, I'll pull that up as well, which is in the art of storytelling. So we're testing long slides, short slides, very technical slides, non-technical slides. So over here again, I could go here, add StreamAlive, and say, whoops, my bad. Sorry, a little too soon. I could go here and say, create a new presentation, use AI on the presentation, read this presentation about storytelling, and it's coming up with, it usually starts the maps in most cases, and then it's giving recommendations like, what's your favorite storytelling element? Because it's a presentation on storytelling. So let's ask people, is it character, plot, setting? Let's have this, let's run a couple of others. And in this case, you see it only recommends 4 interactions. Why? Because it reads that it's an 8-slide deck. So having 10 interactions would be overkill. You could ask for more, but it kind of says, okay, if you've got 8 slides, maybe, just run one every couple of slides, not more than that. So it comes up with a recommendation. You can override it and decide how you want to do it. But it's intelligent that way. When we saw a 40-slide anti-money laundering thing, it came up with about 10 interactions and just about 4 over here, right? I think in some ways it follows a rule that my grandfather, who started South India's first public speaking school, used to always saying, every 5 minutes, get your audience to do something, either raise their hands or sit down or stand up or some physicality, some movement, some kind of interaction. He passed before the internet became a thing. I guess this is the new avatar of that, interactions every 5 minutes or so, right? So thank you, folks, for joining us. Very excited, and hope to hear from you in terms of interest in trying out the beta and getting it in your hands and getting feedback from all of you. Thank you once again.